In the dense, dark forest of Blackwood Grove, where the whispers of the wind harmonized with the rustling of leaves, a chilling legend lingered among the villagers. It was a tale passed down through generations, whispered in hushed tones around crackling fires on cold winter nights, the legend of the Blood Moon vampires. Long ago, when the village was but a fledgling settlement, a coven of vampires descended upon Blackwood Grove. They were led by the enigmatic and fearsome Countess Valeria, whose beauty masked a thirst for blood that knew no bounds. With each passing night, the vampires grew bolder, their crimson eyes gleaming in the moonlight as they hunted for unsuspecting prey. The villagers lived in constant fear, barricading themselves indoors as soon as the sun dipped below the horizon. But even their strongest defenses could not withstand the relentless onslaught of the vampires. One by one, the villagers disappeared into the night, leaving behind only whispered echoes of their terror. Among the few who dared to confront the vampires was a young hunter named Eamon. He had lost his family to the Countess's insatiable hunger and vowed to rid Blackwood Grove of the undead scourge. Armed with a silver-edged blade and a heart filled with vengeance, Eamon ventured deep into the heart of the forest, where the vampires were said to dwell. The forest was a labyrinth of twisted branches and shadowed clearings, where every step felt like a descent into madness. Yet Eamon pressed on, guided by an unshakable resolve to face the horrors that lurked within. As he ventured deeper, the air grew thick with the scent of decay, and the distant howls of wolves mingled with the eerie silence of the night. Finally, Eamon reached the clearing where the vampires held their unholy rites beneath the glow of the blood moon. There, amidst the gnarled trees and swirling mist, he came face to face with the Countess herself, a vision of ethereal beauty and malevolent grace. With a voice like silk and steel, the Countess offered Eamon a choice: to join her in eternal darkness or to meet his end at the tip of her fangs. But Eamon would not be swayed. With a defiant roar, he raised his blade and charged at the Countess, his eyes blazing with righteous fury. The battle that ensued was a symphony of violence and despair, as Eamon fought with all his strength against the relentless onslaught of the vampires. But for every foe he struck down, two more seemed to take its place, until he was surrounded on all sides by a sea of snarling, bloodthirsty monsters. In the midst of the chaos, Eamon caught sight of a glimmer of hope, a shimmering pool of moonlight cutting through the darkness like a beacon of salvation. With a desperate leap, he plunged into the light, his heart pounding in his chest as he felt its purified warmth wash over him. But as he emerged on the other side, he realized with horror that he was not alone. For standing before him, bathed in the soft glow of the moon, was the figure of a woman whose face was hauntingly familiar, yet twisted by centuries of darkness. It was then that Eamon understood the true nature of the Blood Moon vampires, that they were not mere monsters, but cursed souls trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead. And as he looked into the eyes of the woman before him, he saw reflected in them the same pain and longing that burned within his own heart. Together, Eamon and the mysterious woman embarked on a quest to break the curse that bound them both, to find the source of the vampire's power and destroy it once and for all. But as they journeyed deeper into the heart of darkness, they soon realized that the true horror lay not in the creatures that lurked in the shadows, but in the darkness that dwelled within their own souls. And whether they would emerge from the depths of Blackwood Grove as heroes or villains remained to be seen. As Eamon and the mysterious woman delved deeper into the heart of Blackwood Grove, the forest seemed to close in around them like a suffocating embrace. Every step forward felt like a step deeper into the abyss, as if the very darkness itself conspired to consume them whole. Their journey led them to the ancient ruins of a forgotten temple, its crumbling walls adorned with faded symbols of a bygone era. Here, amidst the whispers of the past, they hoped to find the key to unlocking the mystery of the Blood Moon vampires and breaking the curse that bound them. But as they ventured into the depths of the temple, they soon realized that they were not alone. Shadows danced upon the walls, shifting and twisting with a life of their own, as if the very essence of the forest had taken corporeal form to bar their path. With each passing moment, the air grew heavier, thick with the stench of decay and despair. And as they reached the heart of the temple, they came face to face with the source of the vampire's power, a relic of unspeakable darkness, pulsating with a malevolent energy that threatened to consume them whole. Eamon and the mysterious woman knew that they had come too far to turn back now. With trembling hands and hearts filled with dread, they reached out to touch the relic, bracing themselves for the horrors that lay ahead. But as their fingers brushed against its surface, A blinding light erupted from within, engulfing them in a whirlwind of agony and ecstasy. In that moment, they were transported to a realm beyond the boundaries of time and space, where the true nature of their destinies awaited them. As they gazed into the depths of the abyss, they saw visions of a world consumed by darkness, a world where the blood moon vampires reigned supreme, their thirst for blood unquenchable, their hearts devoid of hope. But amidst the shadows, they also glimpsed a glimmer of light, a faint flicker of hope that refused to be extinguished. And as they reached out to grasp it, they felt a surge of power coursing through their veins, binding them together in a bond that transcended lifetimes. With newfound resolve, Eamon and the mysterious woman returned to Blackwood Grove, ready to face whatever trials awaited them. For they knew that the true battle had only just begun, and that the fate of not only their own souls, but the souls of all who dwelled within the darkness of the forest, hung in the balance. And so, as the moon cast its pale light upon the land once more, they stood together at the edge of the abyss, ready to confront the horrors that lurked within and emerge victorious or perish in the darkness, their souls condemned to wander for eternity. As Eamon and the mysterious woman stood on the precipice of destiny, a chilling wind swept through the forest, carrying with it the whispers of ancient spirits and the echoes of forgotten sorrows. The air crackled with anticipation, as if the very fabric of reality trembled at the threshold of their journey. With a silent nod to one another, they plunged into the depths of Blackwood Grove once more, their footsteps echoing in the darkness like a solemn dirge. Each path they tread seemed to lead them deeper into the heart of the unknown, where the line between reality and nightmare blurred into obscurity. Their quest took them to the farthest reaches of the forest, where twisted vines ensnared their every move and unseen eyes watched their every step. Yet still they pressed on, driven by a determination born of desperation and fueled by the promise of redemption. But as they neared their destination, a sense of foreboding washed over them like a wave of dread, for they knew that the true test lay not in the battles they had fought, but in the choices they would make when faced with the ultimate sacrifice. As they entered the clearing where the final confrontation awaited them, they were greeted by a sight that chilled them to the bone. For there, beneath the baleful gaze of the blood moon, stood the Countess Valeria herself, her eyes burning with an unholy fire that spoke of centuries of darkness. With a voice that echoed through the night like a death knell, the Countess spoke of the fate that awaited them, a fate of eternal torment and unending despair. But Eamon and the mysterious woman would not be swayed, for they knew that their souls were bound by a power far greater than the darkness that sought to consume them. And so, with hearts filled with courage and minds sharpened by resolve, they faced the Countess in a battle that would determine the fate of Blackwood Grove itself. Steel clashed against fang, and blood mingled with moonlight as the forest bore witness to a struggle that would echo through the ages. But as the battle raged on, Eamon and the mysterious woman realized that victory would come at a price greater than they could have ever imagined. For in order to defeat the Countess and break the curse that bound them, they would have to sacrifice everything they held dear, including their own humanity. And as they stood on the brink of oblivion, they knew that the choice they made in that fateful moment would shape the course of their destiny for all eternity. With the fate of Blackwood Grove hanging in the balance, Eamon and the mysterious woman found themselves at a crossroads, torn between the promise of victory and the specter of defeat. In the heat of battle, as the clash of steel and fang echoed through the forest, they grappled with the weight of their choices. As they fought, each blow exchanged with the Countess Valeria seemed to carve deeper into their souls, revealing the darkness that lurked within. With every strike, they felt the tendrils of despair tightening around their hearts, threatening to consume them whole. But amidst the chaos and carnage, a glimmer of hope flickered in the darkness, a memory, faint yet persistent, of a time before the curse had taken hold, when love and light still flourished in the hearts of men. Driven by a newfound resolve, Eamon and the mysterious woman fought on, drawing strength from the bond that bound them together. With each passing moment, the Countess's power waned, her grip on reality slipping like sand through her fingers. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the battle reached its climax. With a final, desperate cry, Eamon and the mysterious woman unleashed the full extent of their power, channeling the forces of light and darkness in a cataclysmic explosion that shook the very foundations of Blackwood Grove. When the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded into the night, all that remained was silence, a silence so profound that it seemed to stretch on for eternity. And as Eamon and the mysterious woman surveyed the aftermath of their struggle, they realized that the curse had been broken, and the darkness that had plagued the forest for so long had been vanquished. But as they stood amidst the ruins of their victory, they knew that their journey was far from over. For though the threat of the Blood Moon vampires had been defeated, the scars they left behind would linger for generations to come. And so, hand in hand, Eamon and the mysterious woman set out into the unknown, their hearts filled with hope and determination. For they knew that as long as the light of love still burned within their souls, they would never truly be alone in the darkness. As Eamon and the mysterious woman ventured forth into the unknown, they carried with them the weight of their sacrifices and the burden of their past. Though the curse of the Blood Moon vampires had been lifted, the scars it had left behind ran deep, etched into the very fabric of their beings. As the years passed, they wandered the land, seeking redemption and solace in the fleeting moments of peace they found along the way. But try as they might, they could never truly escape the shadows that haunted their every step, reminders of the darkness that had once threatened to consume them whole. And so, as the sun set on their final journey, they found themselves standing once more at the edge of Blackwood Grove, where it all began. The forest whispered its secrets to them, a symphony of sorrow and longing that echoed through the ages. With a heavy heart, Eamon turned to the mysterious woman, his eyes filled with regret and resignation. For though they had fought valiantly and triumphed over the darkness, they had paid a price too steep to bear. And as they embraced for the final time, they knew that their love was both their salvation and their curse, a flame that burned bright in the darkest of nights, but whose light would inevitably fade into the void. And so, hand in hand, they stepped into the depths of Blackwood Grove, their souls intertwined for eternity, bound by a love that transcended time and space. And as the shadows closed in around them, they whispered their final words, a lament for all that had been lost and a prayer for a future that would never come to pass. For in the end, they were but fleeting spirits, condemned to wander the darkness of Blackwood Grove forevermore, their souls forever entwined in a tragic tale of love and loss.